Hey guys, Be Twice here. Today is Thursday, July 15th. Crazy day in the markets that we saw today. A lot of flushes across the board. We're going to be looking at a handful of stocks and then, of course, the indexes. We're going to start by looking at NVDA. I did a video on NVIDIA the other day where I thought we were in a dip buy zone because I thought it was bottom. Ultimately, we're in a double correction and we headed lower. So basically what I'm seeing is that we are in a 1, 2, 3, and we were looking for bottom for our 4. My last video had the 4 right here where the C was. So we had an ABC move to bottom. I thought that that was going to, because of the support right here, I thought that was going to end up being bottom. And so that I thought was the good dip buy spot. Ultimately, we moved higher. And then when we broke lower, it obviously became a double correction, meaning that we had a W, X, and a Y. So right now we're going down to find our wave Y bottom. I actually bought this dip today, and the reason behind that is a lot of times when you're looking for your wave Y bottom, that you're going to find support and pop off of it for a minimum of a 3 swing up, meaning an ABC up. It's usually right anywhere between the 100% to 161.8% extension. So what you do is you extend, so you come from here down to your C and you extend it from your X. So clearly we're really, really close to this 161.8% extension, and that's why I bought the dip. Another thing is if you take your retracement from your wave 2 bottom up to your peak of wave 3, a lot of times your wave 4 ends somewhere between the 23.6 and the 38.2, and we're just about on the 38.2 right here. So this is why NVIDIA was a dip buy for me today. I'm looking to ride this back up to the mid 800s, hopefully before earnings. So we'll see if this was a good decision. We'll find out here in the upcoming days. All right, let's take a look at AMD real quick. AMD, I've been screaming it's a dip buy. Today I tweeted that I rolled my position out. Why did I roll my position out? I rolled my position out because when we passed this invalidation point right here, it meant that we were in a double correction and that we were heading lower. And then when I did the extension similar to NVIDIA, I found out that there's a good chance we could be heading all the way down to $84 a share. Maybe we'll catch a support right here at this 86 level, and I'm hoping we do, but there's still a chance that we flush a little bit further. And my positions, actually, my options were for next Friday. So because I like this name so much, I rolled them into August because I still see us going to this mid to upper 90 range. They have earnings in a couple weeks, and I just wanted my position to be after earnings. And ultimately, I said, you know what? Let me just give myself to 820, just because I don't know the state of the market when they post their earnings. I think they're going to blow their earnings out of the water, and I don't. And if it dumps a little bit because of the state of the market at that point in time, I want to make sure that my position is still okay. So with that being said, I saw AMD as a dip buy today. We could head a little bit lower. If we're lucky enough to head a little bit lower tomorrow, I would also be buying this dip. All right, let's take a look at Walmart. Okay, so Walmart. Walmart's showing a ton of strength. It's trying to break out. Right now it's trying to break out to hit my price target of 150. I'm hoping it does. I've been long Walmart now for weeks, as I've been watching this guy just trying to break out. Right now we're stuck between these two levels. Similar to like with Nvidia. On Nvidia, I actually had these same levels that said, hey, if we're to break below one of them, we're going to quickly go to the other, or if we break above the top one, then we're going to fly. And that's kind of what happened with Nvidia. You know, we broke one of the supports, and once we broke, we went straight to the other support. That's generally what happened. So Walmart broke through the support. It went up. It tagged the top. I shouldn't say support. It broke through this resistance. It tagged the top resistance and came back down. So right now, it's stuck in between, which now it's got a support beneath it. So now that it's broke this resistance, this is becoming a support. This is a volume shelf support. So right now it's got support beneath it, which is pretty strong, hence its positive day today. And it also has to break the downtrend line. So it has to break the downtrend line and break this volume shelf resistance right here. Once it does break, I do see Walmart moving relatively quickly through to get up towards 150. I'm hoping to see this before earnings. That means it still could be another month, and that's what I've been saying with Walmart. You want to buy time. It's a very slow mover, but I do think at some point we're going to see a Disney type rally out of this guy. We're going to maybe a 3% gain day. And if you're in options at that point in time, then you should be able to take profits relatively quickly from the volatility increase. So I'm long Walmart. Hopefully we can get this breakout and we can see it going somewhere up towards maybe 145, 150 relatively soon. All right, let's look at Disney. Okay, so Disney, I do see us having already bottomed for a wave 4. I could be wrong about that, and we could have a double correction here too, and we could go all the way down to this 180 range. If we're lucky enough in Disney to see it go down to 180, I would definitely buy that dip because I still think that the 191 price target stands before we see a big, big flush. So if we are lucky enough to see Disney come down here, definitely buy it. I don't think that's going to happen. Disney showing a ton of strength. Terrible day in the markets. It was up a couple percent or maybe a percent at open, and ultimately immediately it keeps falling back down. If we haven't already popped up for one and pulled back for a two, I do see that happening relatively soon, and then we should see another rally like we saw right here. It's probably not going to be as big because this was a wave 3 of 3, and a wave 3 of 3 is always going to be the biggest. But we'll see what happens. I still think we're going to get a pretty good size rally here, and it's going to take us up towards this 190 range. Now, with that being said, if we do get another ripping rally from Disney, and it takes us to from 184 to 187 or 188, that's a spot where I'm going to be taking profits. And let me explain why. It doesn't mean that it's definitely going to sell off at 191. It could go all the way to the 262% extension, and I'll just miss out on the gains. And the reason behind that is, or maybe even just at a stop loss, just to make sure you protect your gains. But the reason is this is an algo sell target, and sometimes these will hit in aftermarket hours or pre-market hours, and then it sells off from there, and you completely miss your exit. So with that being said, especially the state of the market, I will be looking to exit somewhere in this range, especially because I've been instance down here. There's, once you get greedy, you get burned. All right, let's take a look at Etsy. So Etsy's gone lower than I've wanted it to. So I've gone back and relooked at it. And what I'm seeing is that this entire motion down where I thought we were hitting our wave 2 bottom where it was going to be shallow, I really like this as bottom. I doubled down at this location. It ultimately was a 5-wave move down for an A. We popped up for a B, and now we're looking for our bottom for C, which is going to be our wave 2. From there, we're going to get a pretty good rally because it's going to be a wave 3. Now, my position on Etsy, I have shares, and then I also have options for September. So I didn't exit my position just because I looked at it today and said, you know what, we still have this support from the downtrend line. Now that we're above it, it's become support. It was resistance. We rallied above it, so now it's support. So we still have this support, and we're still above the 61.8% retracement. We still haven't kissed the 100% extension from the A and the B. So with that being said, I see Etsy dips as a buy. I do think we might go down and tag this 178 area if we see another bad day in the market. If we see one more bad day in the market, Etsy's a screaming buy because from there, I still see us going somewhere into this mid 200s, especially if they have good earnings, which I fully expect Etsy to have good earnings. All right, let's look at some ETFs real quick. All right, so XLI real quick. I think this is a buy. I think it's going to have the end of July. I did a video on this a couple weeks ago, and ultimately it hasn't done a whole lot since then. But ultimately, what I see is that we're in a wave 3 of 3, and we should see a pretty good rally out of this the next good market day. The Dow was positive today, so that speaks volumes about what we might see from the Dow in these upcoming weeks. So pay attention to this. The calls are cheap, and obviously I think that we're going to go somewhere between 106 to 108 range, somewhere like that. All right, XLF. XLF, yesterday I did a video update on it, and I said that I didn't know if we were going to see a complex correction or if it was going to be bottom. Ultimately, it ended up being bottom, I think. We could still move lower, and I could be wrong, but I'm seeing this as being bottom. We saw strength out of XLF today. There was tons of dark pool activity. I like this one going forward. I doubled down again on it today, so my position is relatively large. I see it going up to this 38 range. I'll be cashing out a lot of it at that range because like I said, I'm not going to be greedy in this market because you never know what's going to happen. We might barely get over and only go to 38, 38.5 and then tank. Who knows? But with that being said, I do see it going up to 38, and hopefully we'll see this sometime within the next week or two. Okay, so now let's look at the indices. We're going to look at SPY. So SPY, I bought the dip today. Why did I buy the dip? Well, I've been saying all week that I thought it was going to flush to 434. Ultimately, it went down to 433. These are some two lines of support that I drew before that. I said if we break this one, we're going to quickly go down to this 430 range, and that's just based on volume profile. With that being said, we got to the 434. We tested it multiple times. That's where I bought my dip. I bought the dip close to open when it was 434 just because I said, you know what, I think all these dips get bought up so fast. I want to get in immediately. I've been watching for it to get to 434 all week. I'm finally at 434. I'm getting in. So I got in. I ultimately doubled down later in the day when I saw it went down and kissed this 433 area. I'm seeing this as a wave 2 bottom. I don't know if we'll go any lower. And if we do, I don't see it going any lower than 433. We might open negative tomorrow, like a little bit down. But ultimately, I think we're going to rally and have a positive day. I think we're going to be going up to this 440 range before we see another pullback, and I still do not think this is peak. I could be wrong. I have a lot of hedge right now, and I've been very adamant about that in my tweets. When I say I'm buying these dips, I'm hedging appropriately. I'm betting on the markets going up, meaning if they go down, I'm going to lose more money than if they go up. But with that being said, I'm hedging appropriately because I still have to be mindful of a lot of indicators. One being the bearish divergence that we're seeing on RSI. So I drew it right here. This is bearish divergence. That's not necessarily a good thing. That's actually a pretty bad thing, meaning we're getting pretty close to a top. Um, the question is, where is the top? Well, I'm not in the business of calling tops. I'm in the business of doing some wave theory and using supports and resistances and trying to find 3, 7, or 11 swings to buy the dip to try to catch a pop to get out. So with that being said, I see this going a little bit higher, but I'm going to be quick on taking profits. If we get to 438 on a 1% gain day, I'm out. I'm walking away. I'm not going to wait for 439. I'm not going to wait for 440. I'm just going to walk away because you can gap down the very next day. So you want to be smart right now with because we're so high in the wave count that this wave 5, this wave 3 top that we're looking for, if I'm wrong on count, it could happen anytime. When it does happen, we could fall pretty fast and pretty far down. So be careful. All right, let's look at QQQ. Same thing. I drew this dip buy yesterday. Obviously, it blew through my circle to the bottom, but look where it stopped. This is the same purple line that I drew yesterday as support, and there's another one right here. If we break this, I see it going all the way down to 355. So with that being said, I do think that the dip here was a buy. I'm super long tech, so I didn't even worry about buying any more QQQ, and that's just because I have Amazon, Apple. I pretty much have all the players inside of it, so there's really no reason for me to do that. But with that being said, I did see this dip today as a buy. It's standing right on my support. I don't think we're breaking that. I think the low we saw today was the low. If we do go a little bit lower, maybe we dip a little below it, but I don't see us severely going through it. I don't see us completely breaking it. Ultimately, I still see us rallying up to this 370 range. So hopefully we can see that happen, and I'm not completely wrong and regretting that I even made this video. All right, IWM. I stopped out of IWM today, and I'm going to explain why. So I stopped out because I thought we had a wave 4 bottom um, back here. I want to say it was. No, no, no. I thought we had a wave 4 bottom here where I put this W. So now what we're seeing is that we pulled down for an A, we pulled back for a B, and we had a C. So I was seeing this as bottom. I was calling that wave 4. I saw this as a 1 and that we were pulling back for 2. And I was buying this dip the whole way down, all the way to here. At the end of the day yesterday, I even bought it because I was so close to being rejected out of my position that I figured, hey, even if we drop to this trend line, which is a known great support, even if we drop to this trend line, I can make a decision right there. Do I stay in or do I get out? Ultimately, it opened today. When we hit this trend line, I knew we were in a complex correction, meaning it was W, it was X, and we were heading for Y. So I drew this extension. It could have been as low as a 217 bottom, so we could have already bottomed and be popping back up. I don't know. But a lot of time these wave Ys could be 100%, 123.6, or they can be as low as 161.8. Now, with that being said, we're looking for a wave 4. It's not going to go beneath 2 unless my count's completely wrong and we've already peaked and then we're going into a complete correction. So with that being said, the reason I stopped out was risk reward. I saw SPY and QQQ as being better buy positions. I figured I'm going to take my money off the table and put it over there. And that's exactly what I did. Now, what I'm watching in IWM to try to get a new position is now that we're down here and we're already in the buy zone, technically, because we're seeing so much weakness, I'm not a buyer yet. What I want to see is I want to see it somewhat bottom, pop back up for a relatively decent sized move. And I want to see it be an impulse. I want to see a 5-wave move as an impulse as a wave 1, so a lower degree wave 1. It'd be a higher degree than this impulse, but a lower degree than this. I want to see a wave 1, and then I'm going to watch for this 3 swing down, and then I'm going to buy that 3 swing down. Because what that means is that I'm going to be in a wave 3, and that wave 3 is going to be powerful, and that's what I want to catch. I was trying to catch the falling knife over here. It was stupid. I liked what I saw with IWM. I thought there was going to be a face-ripping rally out of small caps, and I got burned for it, and I won't be making that mistake again. All right, guys, so if you like these videos, go ahead and hit like and subscribe.